1. So, joining me on the podcast for another very special episode is none other than Ryan Jankowski, now the twin brother to Ryan Jankowski, and now officially a pro fighter. And I got to say, right off the bat this morning, I watched your pro debut, and I got to say, man, I was really impressed with the way you fought Jack Haynes, how you managed to get the win in the second round. Honestly, man, how do you feel?
Yeah, I felt good in there. Felt calm. Yeah, everything just felt well. Just the training camp was good for it. The cardio felt good. Didn't feel like gaps. My first few fights felt like completely like drained and everything, but yeah, felt good in there. Probably the best I've ever felt.
Awesome, man. Well, you've certainly come a long way since your amateur career, because you kicked off your amateur career in 2018 with a win, and then you went undefeated for a while, and now you've only got one loss in your amateur career. And since now you've come all the way pro, I just want to, before we'll get to that point, but now I just want to rewind the clocks a little bit for you. So what can you tell me about your background and how you got to where you were?
So I started in judo in primary school. Like, granddad used to take me and my twin brother after primary school in like year 3, year 4 to judo, and then he was like a real big. He was back in the day. He was like a big boxer and he was real big into martial arts. And he put us into judo when we were about 7, I think. And then we didn't really enjoy it, but yeah, that led into like Muay Thai in high school, Taekwondo, and then MMA when we were about 14, 15.
Wow. So you did a little bit similar, definitely similar to your brother. You guys did judo, you guys did kickboxing. Now, I recall Ryan, he told me he had quite a few fights before he transitioned to MMA. What was the case with you? Did you also have some professional Muay Thai fights?
No, I just jumped into MMA. I just had jiu-jitsu comps. Mm-hmm. And then, my first like proper fight was just MMA. I did a few like inter-clubs, like MMA inter-clubs at MMA clinic, but it used to be, scrappy MMA, but it used to be MMA clinic, sorry. And then to your Osborne Park at Mac 1.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And had my amateur fight in 2018, which was a few inter-clubs. But I felt like I was well prepared, like been training for about 4 years before that.
So you had 4 years of MMA experience in training before you had your first amateur fight?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Correct.
And so what was it that made you say, okay, I'm ready, let's go. Let's actually get my first MMA fight. Was it something that happened, or did you just get a feeling? What was the story?
My coach Steve, he believed in my abilities, and he just knew that I could make the next step into like the amateur and just do well. I was training real hard just leading up to it. I just felt like I had the skills to perform. Yeah, all the experience. Yeah, just leading up to it.
That's good to hear. So earlier on today, I spoke with Steve as well. He was very fortunate to come out onto the podcast, and honestly, I got to say, man, you've got a really humble and very knowledgeable coach. How long have you been working at the Wolves Den for?
Since it started 2014, because it was called Mac 1 for about 5 years, because Mac 1 as well as Osborne Park, and then they're both together. And then Steve recently last year wanted to make his own gym, like his own brand, and then changed to Wolves Den. And so it's been good. But he's got so much knowledge. Yeah.
And so you followed him from Mac 1 over to the Wolves Den, and you made that transition, and now you're fighting out of the Wolves Den. Obviously, I got to say, the pillars that he's pushing out of that den, it's phenomenal. Especially you and your brother, coming out hard. And then he had Courtney, who's now one championship fighter. Well, can you give me a little bit of an insight into what's the culture like from your perspective at the Wolves Den?
Yeah, it's real good. Like a lot of like family. Everyone's really close, and everyone pushes each other real hard. yeah, got a good team. It's real friendly, like a lot of new people, and everyone just like, yeah, it's real nice to everyone. Everyone just shows each other like new moves, what they want to work on.
Interesting. And so you've been training there for a while now, and now you've got a professional win under your belt. What is there anything that you're hoping to get done for the rest of this year? Do you have anything booked, or you're hoping to get anything booked before the year is through?
Yeah, hopefully get maybe 1 or 2 more, but I'm putting my name down for the next Eternal, October 30th. And I think that should be a big card. I think it's mostly just pros, so hopefully I get a match for that. And then maybe one more at the end of the year. Maybe a few jiu-jitsu comps, doing one this Sunday, and then maybe another one.
Oh, are you going to be at the one at HPF Arena?
Yeah, SGT, yeah.
Yeah, that's me. I'll be there too. We get to introduce myself to you in person. Will you and brother be there?
Yeah, we're both competing.
Oh,
just
very nice.
No-gi.
Same here.
I've recently got my blue belt, so I'm in the blue belt division, and then Ryan's the white belt. But, yeah, he should be a blue belt, but he'd be like a lot of no-gi.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you prefer the no-gi over the gi?
Yeah. It's more fluent and stuff. I still like gi. Gi, like, you break down things a lot, yeah. I prefer no-gi. It's probably more fluent and quicker and stuff. Easy to scramble, and it works more with the MMA side.
That's understandable. Now, how long have you been practicing BJJ for?
Ever since I started at the gym, so 2014.
Oh, okay. So you've been 5 years? No, got my math is wrong. 7 years?
Yeah, 7 years.
Wow, man, awesome. So, how many competitions have you done right up to the Sunday?
About 6 or so, I think. Yeah, a few. 6 or 7.
And this will be your first one in the blue belt?
Yeah, will be.
Is there any, let's say, different experience that you feel between entering a BJJ competition and competing in a MMA fight? What's the difference? Do you feel any different kind of feelings, or?
Maybe probably a bit less pressure because not getting punched, and I don't really have many friends and family coming to watch me to compete in jiu-jitsu compared to MMA. So I just going to have fun, mix it up.
Understood.
Enjoy myself.
Yeah, and I was going to say, what division will you be competing in? What's your weight category?
70 kilos.
70 kilos.
I was going to do 64, but I'm walking around about 65, 66, so.
Interesting.
Well, fight a bit heavier.
That's okay. So when you, I know my math again's a little bit off, but you normally fight at, what is it? You normally fight at flyweight.
Yeah.
When you compete in BJJ, is there much of a weight difference between BJJ weight and MMA fighting weight?
Not really. Yeah. On the heavier weights, there's probably more guys to roll with as well. Like at the gym, everyone's got bigger. There's not really many small guys. There's a few of us, but yeah.
Fair enough.
But I did a 70 kilo last time. It was a white belt, and it was had so many matches. So I did both gi and no gi, and was exhausted afterwards. But
interesting. So you are now fighting at blue belt, and and you've been practicing for quite some time. Now, let's rewind the clocks back to the beginning of your amateur career, when you had your first amateur fight in 2018 at the Hex Fight Series, Path to Hex 4, against, hopefully I don't butcher this guy's name, Mo Rizwan. Did I say that correctly?
Rizwan, yeah.
Yeah, Rizwan.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell me, what was that like?
Yeah, so me and Courtney, we both had our first amateur debut together, and then we flew over to Melbourne, Path to Hex. I think it was the end of April, and then we had a good training camp. Yeah, it was pretty short training camp, because it was a short notice thing, 3 or 4 weeks or something. But I didn't, know much about my opponent, and we both just felt like we're just going to go in there, smash it. Good training camp. It was truly like experience, like my first fight, going to the East, like traveling with my coach and like training partner, just go over and fight. And then, yeah, leading up to it, I was good. Like the weight was good. Then we weighed in. It was the same day weigh-ins, and we passed the hex. So the weigh-in, I was a bit underweight, and then then we went out, had like waffles and stuff, ate well, and then we fought at the night, and we won the first fight. Courtney was the first fight, and it was the third fight. So like, we'd warm up, and then she would go out, and then I had my twin brother as well. He was in the army, but he came to corner, and then he warmed me up, and then Courtney won by decision, got a nice decision, and then I went out there. I felt like I was just going to do well, and then my game plan was just go out there, like throw kicks, just have fun, and because I had a big reach from the guy, and I came up through some like head kick, and he just took me down. It was a good fight, scrambled, and then ended up getting the TKO, ground and pound. But it was a surreal like experience, and afterwards like going karaoke. Yeah.
Is that your go-to, karaoke?
Yeah, usually.
Okay, nice. Good on you, man. And
had a few drinks and stuff.
Yeah, that's usually the way to go. Usually the way to celebrate, especially when I talk to fighters. They're not really the ones that I've spoken to. They don't really talk to. They're very humble people, but they're not the kind that want to, go out. They're not about the clubs or the nightlife. But they tell me, but when they do ever go out, because they barely ever get to, it's so much more enjoyable because, especially coming off a win like that, especially in a KO in your first fight. I mean, I would say the beers did definitely taste good that night. That's all I can say. Now, I wanted to ask you about, so now you've got quite extensive record from the time you were an amateur all the way up to when you were a pro. Now, I wanted to ask you about your last amateur fight, which was in literally at the beginning of this year against Darcy Spowart. I hope I'm saying his names correctly. At Eternal 56. Yeah. So coming off the fight, what was the biggest improvement which you made between when you were an amateur and then when you had your first fight as a pro?
Probably, a lot of mindset, just mental. I felt I was ready to go pro. And in that last fight, I was amateur, it was a close fight. I felt like I could have done more in that last amateur fight. So I was pretty like gun shy, pretty hesitant. But it's good experience. Yeah.
Awesome.
I feel like I learned a lot through the amateur ranks. Then to go pro, I felt like I was real just comfortable in there. So I've had a lot of fights at the HBS now. Felt like I've done it before, warmed up, visualized a lot about it. Had a few dreams about like entering the arena and stuff.
So walk me through like what do you go through on the day of the fight day? Like ask your brother the same question. Like, okay, it's fight morning. Do you have like a little routine that you go through, or is there something that you do to help take your mind off the nerves? Like, what do you do?
Usually, like I make like a big breakfast and stuff. Like maybe go to Ruffy's and then like at home make some food, and then usually just be active for the day. Maybe like go to my dad or like go somewhere. Keep my mind off, maybe just go see a mate, keep my mind sort of off the fight, and then, then maybe leading up to it, then when I'm like about to leave, I sort of have like a little switch. It's like, time to fight, and just sort of eat well. But when I get to the venue, I don't eat anything. I just,
Interesting.
feel like eating things, it's hard to like,
Do you feel like that's just because it's a loss of appetite, or you just don't want to eat anything, or what's going through your mind?
Sort of like I just can't eat because I'm too like focused. Like I'm in a mode where just like all I'm thinking about is the fight and getting in there. Then afterwards, just like enjoy myself, eat what I want.
Fair enough, man. So let's rewind the clocks a little bit more. Your brother told me that when he was out of high school, he ended up joining the army, and he told me a little bit about what it was like to be in high school because you guys were training so heavily. He told me you guys came from a bit of a competitive background, and a lot of the fighters that I've spoken to a lot of them start at a very young age, especially when they're in their teen years. So what I wanted to ask you now was, what was it like, training, judo and the Muay Thai and boxing or in the MMA whilst you were in high school? How did you manage to fit it all in?
Because even through high school, the only thing I would think about is fighting. Like I'd ride my bike to school and I'd think about just training or MMA basically. But yeah, it was good. Just after training, we'll just after school. Sorry, we'll just go train and we'll just be real competitive. Me and my brother.
Oh,
but,
interesting.
Yeah, it was easy to after school, just go train or
And when you finished school, then what happened?
Yeah, I took it like more seriously. Like through school, I'd only train about like maybe 3 times a week. But then like straight after school, when school finished, it was like the only thing I would do back then was like train every day. And got in really good shape. Did a few like jiu-jitsu tournaments. Took it like really seriously. Compared to through school, like we only go a few days a week.
Interesting. And when you left high school, did you go to university? Did you get a job? And like, did the schedule change at all?
I was working, like I got a job for